like words, I always have. I'm not really sure why, but words, language, the flow of words, the flow of sentences has always appealed to me. And so I have an interest in language. I'm not very good at learning languages, to be honest, but I have an interest nonetheless. And in my job you get to pick up a bit of Latin and a bit of Greek. So here's a word for you. Eoanthropus. Good word, isn't it? It's actually a defunct name of a genus. Eo means dawn, or people often think of it as early. Anthropus, well, if you think of anthropology, the study of man, anthropus is man. So Eoanthropus is the genus early man. But every Latin name, every Latin species name, has two words to it. There's the genus name, in this case Eoanthropus, and then there's the species name, in this case Dawsoni, or Dawson's early man, named after a guy called Charles Dawson. Yes, if you haven't worked it out, I'm talking about the Piltdown hoax. Just after the turn of the 20th century, a guy called Charles Dawson contacted his colleague at the Royal Society and presented him with what he claimed to be a recently unearthed fossil skull of an early man. And so for a long time, scientists believed that Eoanthropus Dawsoni really was evidence of early man discovered by and credited to Charles Dawson. Well, in the 50s, with improved scientific methods, it became very clear that it was an elaborate hoax, and so the species was written out of our understanding of the evolution of man. And since it was the only member of that genus, the genus name also became defunct, which is why you never hear about Eoanthropines anymore, because there aren't any, there never were. What I want to point out, though, what I think is really significant here, is the discovery that it was a hoax, and the later discovery from around 2016, which pretty much established that it was a hoax perpetrated by Dawson himself, was not discovered by any creationist, any God botherer, any Christian or Muslim or any other religious type. It was discovered by later scientists using improved methods, and once that was discovered, the scientific community accepted their mistake and moved on. Now that is how you progress. And here's something I want you to consider. If you went back and spoke to the Royal Society of 100, 200 years ago and told them what you know now as a layperson, because I'm guessing most people watching this are not scientists, you would be telling them things that would amaze those incredibly learned men of their time. And I say men because 200 years ago there were no women in the Royal Society. Fortunately there are now. If you were to go back to the General Synod of the Church of England and give them your understanding of Christianity, you would have nothing to teach them, because religion doesn't move on. Science incorporates new information, it incorporates the evidence, and it takes that evidence and learns from it. Religion, when it meets evidence that contradicts what it already thinks, ignores that evidence. And in fact there is a a process. You can watch it. Watch it now on issues like abortion, where you will have a religious organisation that will stick absolutely rigidly to scripture. And the evidence doesn't matter, it's scripture that counts. But then the secular world moves on, and the secular world decides that this is just ridiculous. And that, okay, there may be a small group of religious people who are very, very loud, but the majority of people either don't care about that issue or fundamentally disagree with them. But they will carry on and carry on and carry on until eventually the secular world makes it impossible for them to maintain that outdated belief. Then they will quietly drop that belief. And then 10 to 20 years later, they will tell you how they were at the forefront of changing that archaic practice and claim it for themselves. They did it with slavery, for example. The churches, the established churches in the United Kingdom, were among the last to give up their slaves. But you ask a Christian now, they will tell you that it was their belief, it was their Christian faith that brought an end to slavery. They ignore the fact that it was their Christian belief that justified slavery through Exodus 21. They won't tell you that bit. So you watch and understand the process you see is science moves on by accepting when it's made a mistake, and religion continues to repeat the mistake until it's dragged kicking and screaming into the modern world by a secular society that's got fed up with its nonsense. I'm Stuart Sorensen, this is the God-Free Guide. I invite you to please subscribe to the channel and watch out for more videos. Cheers.